we're going to talk about a trick shot that you can do really easily. 2 golf balls, side by side, and 5-iron here. You actually have enough room on this face, you don't believe it, to be able to hit 2 balls at the same time perfect. So let's try it, okay? Okay, so we've got 1 ball teed up. We simply put the other one next to it. You got 2 balls side by side. You have a blade that's big enough to hit both balls perfectly. One a little bit on the toe, one a little bit on the heel, but they both go great. Watch. Oh, did you see that? Those were beautiful. One straight and high and one straight and low. I'd take them without being side by side, wouldn't you? The greatest wedge shot I ever saw, I saw in person. It was a 1983 Ryder Cup. Lanny Wadkins, with everything on the line, needs to have the 18th hole, or win the 18th hole to have his match, and then to win the Ryder Cup by 1 point over Europe. Now, a lot of people think that the 1921 was the beginning of the Ryder Cup, when U.S. pros were encouraged to go to England for the Open Championship, go to Scotland and play there in the UK. That's not. The Ryder Cup did not really begin as the great story in sports that it is until Lanny Wadkins hit that wedge shot in 1983 and to, in effect, win the Ryder Cup for the U.S. team. I was right behind Lanny Wadkins. In fact, you'll find that there's a guy with a red shirt just kind of quickly patting Lanny on the back and moving out of frame. That was me. I was right there in history. Loved it. Tom Watson came running over from 17. Ben Crenshaw came running in. It was a great victory, and from that moment, 1983, then the U.S. kept losing. For 8 years in a row, they kept losing. That is because they stopped the Ryder Cup from being just Great Britain and Ireland to all of Europe. So they brought in Seve Ballesteros and Olazabal and Canizares and others, and as a consequence, it is one of the great moments in golf. But let's talk about that wedge, how Lanny Wadkins did it. First thing, a 64-degree wedge, forget about it. You're not that good, neither am I. Phil Mickelson can play a 64, nobody else can. A 60-degree wedge, the lower, a 54-degree wedge or a 50-degree wedge, sand wedge, they're the best. A lot of people like to have 3, 4, even 5 wedges in their bag. That's a waste of wedges. 2 is the most you need, 2 sand wedges. I have a 50 and a 60. But here's the thing, and this, you've got to be a 1-club wonder. Did you hear that? A 1-club wonder. In other words, this is a 50-degree wedge. I can hit it 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, up to 95 yards. And I do it by where my swing stops. A 40-degree, my feet are close together, and I go right to here. Incidentally, every single wedge shot, you have to get your hands waist high or higher, because the reason people flub wedges is they get halfway back and they go flip it like that. Bert Yancey, who had a great classical golf school years and years ago at Hilton Head at Harbor Town, taught the right hand angle. Just keep that right wrist like this all the way through. So see, look at that. If you keep that, you're going to hit nice wedge shots. None of this flippiness that causes the bladed shot, the stubbed shot, all those horrible shots. Here's the 50-degree wedge. Perfect, 40 yards. Here's 50 yards. And 60 yards. Just by going a little further back. That flag is 87 yards uphill, so it's playing about 95 yards. That's maximum for my 50-degree wedge. But let's see if we can hit the flag, okay? Okay, that's in the hole. No, it's not. It took a bad bounce and went to the right. Now let's talk about the other wedge. We'll be right back, but first a word from our sponsor. Actually, not a sponsor, but the reason why we do this, it's because of a charity called Ministries to Children. Ministries to Children, MTC. It's to help at-risk kids with food, shelter, with medical help, housing, all those kinds of things. And man, we could use your help. We just believe in this so much. 100% of the monies donated goes directly to the children. So help the Ironman, help the children. Just click below and please donate. Now I've got the wedge that everybody loves, the 60-degree wedge. Love to hit little pitch shots and little chip shots with it, because when you hit it just right, it scoots along, hops. Second hop, it just spins and comes to a stop right there, and everybody goes, ooh, you're so good, what a great wedge shot. But that's about a 1 out of 5. My advice for a 60-degree wedge, only use it when you have to. There are times when the pin is up against the front of the bunker and you've got to fly it straight up in the air and stop it cold right by the, so we can hit that shot really high. You won't, this will go out of frame. Straight up, straight down, and it will stop. But the best thing to remember about your 60-degree wedge, whatever you start to pick it up, just look at your playing companions and go, I'm going to hit the 50. It's so much easier. Just make sure with the 50 you can hit it 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. You do that, you're a great wedge player. Not as great as Lanny Wadkins, but really good. So, again, as we always say at the end, you have an absolutely amazing life and an absolutely amazing game of golf.